Alrighty, here we go. There is something I wanted to talk about today, but I'm gonna leave this one short. I'm talking about people wanting help for something that God tells you He's not gonna help you with. What that got to do with it? A lot, dummy. You should be using that book like your daily bread. Like if you needed peanut butter or ham, this is the daily bread that should go with it. You keep trying to figure out why the law that you are abiding and serving and, actually following is failing you. This time I'm only going to two chapters. First book of Samuel, chapter 8, and the first book of Samuel, chapter 9. First Samuel, chapter 8, verses 10 through 18. And it says, Samuel told all of the words of the Lord to the people who were asking him for a king. He said, "This is what the king who will reign over you will claim as his rights." Ready? "He will take your sons and make them serve with his chariots and his horses, and they will run in front of his chariots. Some he will assign to be commanders of thousands and commanders of fifties, and others to plow his ground and reap his harvest. And still, others to make weapons of war and equipment for his chariots. He will take your daughters to be perfumers and cooks and bakers. He will take the best of your fields and vineyards and olive groves and give them to his attendants. He will take a tenth of your grain and your vintage and give it to his officials and attendants. Your male and female servants and the best of your cattle and donkeys he will take for his own use. He will take a tenth of your flocks, and you yourselves will become his slaves. When that day comes, you will cry out for relief from the king you have chosen, but the Lord will not answer you in that day." Think I'm going to repeat 18 over again. When that day comes, you will cry out for relief from the king you have chosen, but the Lord will not answer you in that day. What I interpret from this is, we should have kept it like it was. You motherfuckers acting like you like the way it is. I'm guessing chapters before this, prophets and everything else had miracles and everything else. Because I'm starting to look at chapters after this where it seems like God has disappeared from people's presence, and guess who asked for that to happen? You did. The people wanted a king that they could touch, not a king that they couldn't. You don't think it's ironic that he told you everything that a king/president, yeah, I went there, is still doing to this day? And you still following that administration? Trying to figure out why it seems like God ain't helping you? Hey, try reading the manual. That's what I would do if I didn't know how to drive the car I was fucking up and fucked up in. I'd probably read the manual. He said because you chose this, he ain't going to help you with it. But he also has some laws that he completely will help you with that you knew about, that you're choosing to have a king instead of. I'm just here to remind you that you still got a choice. You can hear this and be stupid enough to make man your king, or you can learn from the story, dial it all back, and keep God as your king. God and Jesus Christ, who is one. Yeah, Old Testament and New Testament. But it's something small I want to point out in this next chapter, though, for all of those people who feel like I'm just some child that don't get it. I have a correction to make, because I want to get straight to the point. It isn't First Samuel chapter 8 and chapter 9. It's First Samuel chapter 8 and chapter 15 for a stopping point. 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 10. We just going to skip to the end of Saul. Then the word of the Lord came to Samuel. I regret that I have made Saul king, because he has turned away from me and has not carried out my instructions. Samuel was angry, and he cried out to the Lord all that night. Early in the morning, Samuel got up and went to meet Saul, but he was told Saul has gone to Carmel. There he has set up a monument in his own honor and has turned and gone on down to Gilgal. When Samuel reached him, Saul said, "The Lord bless you. I have carried out the Lord's instructions." But Samuel said, "What then is this bleating of sheep in my ears? What is this lowing of cattle that I hear?" I'll let you go over the whole chapter yourself on your own to figure out the whole debacle. But I'm going to sum it up right now. God told Saul to kill everything. Saul did not listen to God. He listened to people who saved some stuff for themselves. Samuel then takes the kingdom from Saul, as instructed to do by God. He tells him that God has ripped the kingdom from him, being that Samuel is God's prophet. Notice how the prophet still had to deliver the message that the kingdom has been ripped away from you. The prophet had to say it to the king's face. Be very careful what you call strong. And why people feel that way about all of that? 1 Samuel chapter 16, the first verse says, "The Lord said to Samuel, how long will you mourn for Saul, since I rejected him as king over Israel? Fill your horn with oil and be on your way. I am sending you to Jesse of Bethlehem. I have chosen one of his sons to be king." You got to remember that God is not a man that thinks like we do. Let me skip ahead in the chapter to give you another headliner. Fine. 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 6. When they arrived, Samuel saw Eliab and thought, "Surely the Lord's anointed stands here before the Lord." But the Lord said to Samuel, the prophet, "Do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." What I say, he's not a man to think the way that we do? Oh, my bad. I said that before all of this, didn't I? But hey, don't feel so bad about it, because your mama and your daddy could have been wrong too. Want me to point that out? 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 10. Jesse had 7 of his sons pass before Samuel, but Samuel said to him, "The Lord has not chosen these." So he asked Jesse, "Are these all the sons you have?" "There is still the youngest," Jesse answered. "He is tending the sheep." Samuel said, "Send for him. We will not sit down until he arrives." Jesse / parents. When God tell you bring all your children, you ain't the judge. Bring them all. Not what you think to be the best or what you think to be the worst. So in this situation, there's a boy in this story that God said is made after his own heart, with a parent whose heart might be a little bit smaller, a little bit duller, a little bit weaker. Because if it was any stronger, he would have been made king. My point is the philosophy of looking at the outward appearance, status, social status, bank accounts, anything that you can look at and say, okay, I see power. Without God, his children just see another Goliath, some waiting to fall. This ain't about playing holier than thou. This is about picking a side and staying there. Oh, and it's also to show you that this book does illuminate on all of your problems. All of them. All of the ones you don't want to bring to them, all of them. Every single problem you want to hold on to and not talk about, this book can help you deal with. So you might just be holding on to your problems because you're a little